What's happening, guys? Joe Clem 15 coming back at you again. Um, Here to just drop in my 2 cents about the comments Mayweather made about Jeremy Lin. Um, First off, let me say that just because somebody talks about race and it's not in a positive light does not mean it's racism. Um, a lot of people don't like Mayweather, and a lot of people choose to be closed-minded about what he says on this topic. Um, in regards to how he feels about Jeremy Lin. I'm gonna tell you guys why Mayweather is mostly right. And I say mostly because he overgeneralized his statement. He says that the whole reason Jeremy Lin is getting all this hype is because he's Asian. Um, I want you guys to understand the argument. The argument isn't against Asians. Um, this is the element of surprise that Mayweather is referring to. It has nothing to do with Asians. It's the fact that you have somebody balling who's not black at a point guard position. You know, in a sport where blacks dominate. This is where the hype is coming from. This just happens to be the reason. Uh, People need to just calm down with all this shit about Mayweather being racist, and it's not. This has nothing to do about racism at all. Okay, he goes on to say day in and day out, black people, black point guards or black players put up the same kind of numbers and don't get the credit, and it's true, but that's because it's ordinary. We're more drawn into what's extraordinary. You're not gonna see a Chinese uh, player. Okay, even you had Yao Ming, but I mean, especially a Chinese point guard going out there, even a span of 5 or 6 games, putting on really good performances, record-breaking performances. That draws us in more. That's interesting to watch. That's news. That's out of the ordinary. It's extraordinary. Okay, uh, to say that all the hype uh, is because it's Asian would technically be false because there's other factors that contribute to the hype. But to say that race has nothing to do with it is ignorant. If you reverse the scenario, I believe that Tiger Woods is the most popular uh, golfing athlete in the world. Even though he's due to the whole cheating thing, he's kind of fell off a little bit in the past year or so. But you know, he's so big in this sport, not just because he's black, but because he's the best. So um, the hype around Tiger Woods has to do with the fact that he's the best, and also because he's a black athlete performing uh, at such a high level in a sport that's dominated by uh, mostly white people, or where white people mostly take part. The same effect happens with the Williams sisters. You can't tell me that if all of a sudden within the next like 3.5 weeks, some black dude, this brother out of Compton, just starts killing in the NHL. I don't really watch hockey, but he's leading all hockey and scoring, and within a few weeks he's making a team that was you know starting off poorly, starting to get back into the mix. Uh, the hype will consist of not only his gameplay, but the fact that he's black, and blacks usually don't shine in a sport like hockey. Not it's not like there's even a bunch of black people in hockey. There's not. Just like there's not a lot of Chinese people uh, in basketball. So you'd be more drawn to it, like, oh man, a black dude in hockey playing very well. You're gonna be more drawn to it. It surrounds the hype. You know, with the whole Tim Tebow thing, I have to say the same thing. A lot of people felt that all the hype was just because Tebow was a white boy who played kind of like a black quarterback, and I mean in the sense that he's a quarterback who rushes the football. Usually, that's going to be Cam Newton, Michael Vick, McNair, Donovan McNabb in his prime, stuff like that. Cunningham, Moon, they have the legs, and so you had this white boy who could play that kind of a style. The argument was that all the hype around him was because he's white. No, there's other factors that contribute to it. The religious aspect, uh, the um, the fact that he's bringing a team back to the from low performances to playing at a high level. There's a lot of contributing factors, but there's certain things. There's catalysts that serve to make something a mania, to make something a sanity. Okay, um, Jeremy Lin, if he were black, or if he or even if he were white. Okay, if he were black, it would be he would still be talked about. He would still get a lot of attention because he's performing at a high level. Comes out of nowhere. Say if he has a good story, that's going to be good too. He's still going to get a lot of media attention. If he's a non-black player, okay, then he's going to get even more media attention. Okay, because we're just not used to seeing that. We can see the same thing in boxing. Let's not be blind here. If we're not going to be surprised that the best fighter in the world is black or Hispanic, because generally blacks and Hispanics dominate the sport. Okay, but if somebody like a Manny Pacquiao, part of the hype around Manny Pacquiao is the fact that he is a non-black and non-Hispanic. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's all of it. That doesn't mean the only reason why the world has he hasn't become a global icon within the sport is just because he's not black or Hispanic, but it contributes to that. It's a new face. Uh, it's a breath of fresh air. Something people can look at and be like, that's not normal that a Filipino comes out and performs as well in boxing. There's been some Filipinos in the history of boxing, but again, it's against the norm. Um, if Pacquiao was Mexican or black, he would still be a big fighter. He would still be a big draw. He wouldn't be as big. Okay, you can see how fast a non-black and non-Hispanic fighter will build up. They start performing, just a little bit well. There becomes a media train. You saw it with Kelly Pavlik. You saw it with Morrison. We saw it with Cooney. It happens all the time, and it's not. We don't have to be like, whenever somebody talks about race, we have to just stick our ears up, get on the defensive. It's normal. The element of surprise is what drives people to watch, drives people to just start a craze, start a sanity, start a media hype job, and it just so happens um, that the color of somebody's skin or their ethnicity is you know what's being the focal point of that. So Mayweather, what he's saying is that you know she shouldn't say that uh, all all the hype around Jeremy Lin is because he's Asian. What was correct to say is that a lot of the hype around Jeremy Lin is because he's Asian, and I think that is what he means. Because before that, he goes on to say that Jeremy Lin is a good player, acknowledging that he is, been playing well, that he is talented. A lot of times when we make these statements, we're too lazy to make them technically sound or whatever, so we're gonna overgeneralize something. You know, the only reason blacks usually win the dunk contest is because we jump high. Of course, there's other factors in terms of creativity, uh, natural swag. No, I'm just playing. But just little things like we're gonna be more prone to say to overgeneralize. My only point is really that we shouldn't get all that upset. about what Mayweather said, and honestly, I think it has a lot of merit. But those are just this actually went on a lot longer than I thought it was. It's been 10 minutes, but these are just my thoughts. I mean, just ask yourself, whatever race you are, if you're Asian, um, if there was an Asian quarterback in the NFL who's just started balling in the first 5 weeks, I promise you he's going to get a lot of media attention. And it's not going to be just because he's performing at a high level, because we've seen quarterbacks come out their rookie year, come out of nowhere and perform well, and they get some media attention. But if it's out of the ordinary, it's going to be double that. That's all it is. That's all it is. You know? Shit. And it works. It works the same way. I can't remember his name, but the black dude from Chicago who he does the speed skating. He broke all the records in the Olympics. He's from Chicago. I can't remember his name, but it's like, damn, a black dude, winter sports. It's more intriguing, isn't it? Because it's not usual. It's all it is. It's really not a big deal. Peace.